Dick Hank Productions presents the Beardown Corner with your host, Sergeant Cornholio. Yo, what is up, my sports fans? I'm Sergeant Cornholio. This is the Beardown Corner, and boy, do we got a wonderful show for you. We just concluded week 18 of the regular season. That means the NFL 2024 season has come to a close, but without fail, more excitement on its way. We got playoff seedings to talk about today. We got head coaching carousel shit to talk about today. We got the news and the crap in the headlines from Sunday. And as of this moment at about, 2 o'clock General Mountain Time, I'm going to give you as much as I can to get you prepared for the upcoming week and the playoff matchups to come. All right? It's playoff season football, people. Like, not fantasy, but actual playoffs. This is where the legends are made. So, let's get right into it. Week 18 recap. We'll give you some scores. We'll do a little discussion. We'll just do the damn show as we usually do, because this is the Beardown Corner, and I'm Sergeant Cornholio. So let's get you up to date. Cleveland Browns, people. The Cleveland Browns took on the Pittsburgh Steelers to go head-to-head in a matchup that basically Baltimore just needed a win, and they won the division. So they did that. They locked up the AFC North. The Steelers took on host to the Cincinnati Bengals coming to town. Bengals won that one in a scrappy 19-17 victory to keep their playoff hopes alive. But then, going into Sunday, they needed a few things to happen. One of those things was for Miami Dolphins to lose, which they did. But to no avail did it matter, because the Denver Broncos put a walloping of a 38-0 win over the Kansas City Chiefs backups to secure that 7th and final seed in the AFC. Chicago, my boys, they won in a shit show of a football game, but a fun one to watch nonetheless. 24-22. There was 2 field goals in the final 2 minutes of this game. So, yeah, not much else to say in that other than good job, guys. I know that they kind of rested a little near the end because they knew they were locked into the playoffs, and that's fine. I'll take the win against Green Bay any day. I love it. So, yeah, we won against Green Bay in Green Bay, week 18, and not a meaningful game, but a game nonetheless. New York Giants fell 2013 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Carolina and Atlanta. In Atlanta, went to overtime. This game had everything you need. Bryce Young looked like a franchise quarterback. He threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for 2. Like, pretty impressive, I must say so myself. Carolina came out on top in that one. 44, was it? Yeah, 44-38. So, nixing any chances of playoff hope there. But to no avail was it going to matter, because the Bucs weren't having it on Sunday. They weren't going to let the New Orleans Saints come into town and take them out to deny them a division crown. So they took out the New Orleans Saints 27-19. And Mr. Baker Mayfield threw for, 5 touchdowns the week before and a few this day. So, he's leading hot heading into the playoffs. I'm excited to watch that team. You got Washington taking out Dallas 23-19. Terry McLaurin setting the franchise record for the Washington Commanders with 13 receiving touchdowns in a single season. Good job, Terry McLaurin. Jacksonville goes into Indianapolis to lose 26-23 in overtime. Yeah, you know what? They fought hard. They fought hard and had fun in the last game of the season. So that's what you want to see in the final week. A bunch of exciting football, right? That's why we watch it. Houston Texans take care of the Tennessee Titans. 23-14 is the final in Tennessee. Buffalo goes into New England to lose with their backups, of course, because they already clinched the number 2 seed in a game that we will discuss a little bit further on because, man, the implications it had, big. Already talked about Denver rolling 38-0 over Kansas City. Arizona 47-24 against the 49ers. Not much more need to be said there other than Trey McBride with another touchdown catch on the season. Kyler Murray making them show why they're going to be dangerous next year. They are on the right path. The Arizona Cardinals are. I'm excited for them. I really am. Mr. New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers defeated the Miami Dolphins 32-20. We'll have a little bit more from that game too. As we move on though, Seattle 30-25 against the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium. So Geno, we'll just talk about this right now. Geno Smith, and also I need to apologize from last week. It wasn't for the division crown. Los Angeles Rams locked that up the week before. They rested a bunch of their starters this week, but Geno Smith nailed 3 bonus incentives this week to walk away as the $6 million man. $2 million for him completing 10 wins in the season. Another for setting, I think it was the passing yards or passing touchdowns, one of the two, record for Seattle. And I think the third one was, one was touchdowns, one was passing yards, just reaches of the level he needed to be. So I think it was like he had to throw for 4,200 plus pass yards and X amount of touchdowns, and he would reach certain bonuses in his contract. So good job, Mr. Geno Smith, from going from a second round possible bust to now a starter for Seattle. Los Angeles Chargers continue their winning ways, 34-20 over the Las Vegas Raiders in a match they wanted to have to lock in that number 5 seed, because now they get to go over to the number 4 this week, and we'll reveal who that is in the upcoming segment after we talk. We're just going to get right into this one. We need to talk about last night. We need to talk about Sunday Night Football and the absolute stamp Detroit put on their season. So it's summed up like this. Last game of the regular season, Detroit on one side, Minnesota on the other, right? Both 14-2. I don't recall in my memory that ever happening out of the same division, let alone the same conference, where the final matchup of the season is for the number 1 seed. The loser drops to the number 5. Okay? So that means you're going to have a number 5 seed who's 14-3 going on the road against the number 4 in the NFC. And the number 1 is going to get a bye next week and right into the divisional round. It comes down to this. 31-9. Detroit fucking battled their ass off. So did Minnesota. They both did. Late into the third quarter, Detroit just finally broke free. They broke free. Jamari Gibbs had 3 rushing, 1 receiving for a grand total of 4 touchdowns in last night's game. Detroit put a stamp on their season that this is who we are. And the way Jared Goff handled himself in the interview after the press conference, where he was talking to reporters and discussing, the confidence in that man's eyes, Super Bowl or nothing, is basically what it is for Detroit this year. They are all fucking in. And the band's slowly somewhat healing and coming back together. So look out for that. I think David Montgomery's supposed to come back. I know that Hendricks, who's their defensive star? The sack leader, who still led them in sacks last night, even at the end of the season, even though he got knocked out in like week 8. I think, I can't remember his name right now. I want to say Hendrickson, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. That's okay. Either way, he said he was supposed to be out for the season. He might be back for the Super Bowl if they make it to there. Which, come on, who are we kidding? Other than Minnesota, I don't think, and I hate to use this because There's a lot of good teams this year. There is, but I don't think anyone is coming out of the NFC other than the Detroit Lions. Maybe the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe. Saquon Barkley is having a hell of a year. So we're gonna just transition over from the Week 18 recap, right? This is a nice salam to you. You're good night. Good night on the regular season, and we're gonna move right on into the stories in the league. So Saquon Barkley, I came with some stats the other day that I found really interesting. He has a better yards per attempt, I think at 5.7, compared to Eric Dickerson's 5.3 he had during his record-setting year in 1983. 2105 was the record. And you know what? I'm fine with Saquon not going for the record in Week 18. He doesn't need an extra game to do it. If he would have had the amount of touches that Eric Dickerson had, he probably would have broke it by Week 16. He had a 0.4 higher average than Eric Dickerson did. It's just I think it was like 40 or 60 carries less. Something stupid like that. So in that, Saquon is a hell of a running back, and he still has a few more years to really go get that title if he wants. And he very well could if that offensive line keeps giving him the holes they were all season long. It's nuts. It's nuts, the stuff he was doing. They got A.J. Brown back. Devontae Smith is looking good again. Jalen Hurts, I believe, is on the up and up in whatever regard. I know they were resting him, giving Kenny Pickett the start this week. So, yeah, you know what? Philly's going to be a tough team. Defense, a little questionable, I think, but they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They came around in the second half of the season, and they locked in. They locked in. So I'm excited to see where that goes. But I still think Detroit's going to take the NFC. And in the AFC, honestly, I'm putting my money on the Bills. Well, the Bills, really. I want to see the Bills. I don't want to see a three-peat by Kansas City. I don't. They had luck this year winning basically all their games that were decided by 7 points or less. They lost twice this year. The other one I don't count in Week 18. That was a 38-0 rollover against a bunch of backups. Okay, they're resting guys. They're trying to get healthy. Their main loss came to Buffalo. Okay, and not even by 7 points, not even within reach, by a 2-score game. Buffalo made sure of that. So whether they have to play in Arrowhead Stadium, right? Or maybe Kansas City gets uprooted in 2 Sundays from now. And then it runs through Buffalo. Either way, I don't want to see a Kansas City three-peat. I just don't. I want to see someone different at this point. We've had enough of the Kansas City Chiefs. At least I have for now. If you can do it, do it. Until someone stops you, you keep rolling. Simple as that. It doesn't get easier. But when it comes to what Buffalo is doing this year, Josh Allen has taken that team, throwing them on his back, and he's like, all right, boys, let's go. They will play game script, but if they have to go off game script, you guarantee Josh Allen is probably running the goddamn ball in for a touchdown and going to throw a pair to God knows who, because it doesn't matter on that team who it is. He's tossing touchdowns. He does not have the year that he did. I feel he should be MVP. That is my call for Josh Allen, is to be MVP of the league this year. He outplayed the shit out of Patty Mahomes. There ain't no question about that. Lamar Jackson is his only other competition other than Saquon. But let's be honest. They haven't given an MVP to a running back since what? Sean Alexander? Or no, sorry. No. That's wrong. No, that's wrong. That was 2004? 2005 time. They went to the Super Bowl with Matt Hasselbeck and the whole Ready crew, lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The bus got a Super Bowl, the 2004 season, right? Capped off in 05. Sean Alexander was the MVP that year with like 29 touchdowns or something like that. No, then LaDainian Tomlinson won it when he had 31 a few years later. And I can't recall who the last... Adrian fucking Peterson, that's who. 2,097 yards, I think it was. Dude, 2012. That's what it was, 2012. Adrian Peterson won MVP when he had 2,097 yards, God knows how many receiving, and touchdowns to lead the Minnesota Vikings. I think it was to like an 11-5 record that year, and they won in the last game of the season against Green Bay to host, but then lost the following week in Minnesota. Oh, the wonderful information that is stored up in this brain. But you know what? I don't know. Long story short, Buffalo in the AFC, I feel, and Detroit coming out of the NFC. If there is any other random wild card teams, you know what? Fuck it, I'll throw the Buccaneers as my dark horse in the NFC. All right, I just like Baker Mayfield. I like what he brings. And in the AFC, honestly, Los Angeles and Justin Herbert are looking fine. They got something going there. They got J.K. Dobbins back. That defense is playing how they should. They played tough against Kansas City the 2 times they met them this year, right? Because if they win, unless there's an upset over the weekend, they'll be traveling to Arrowhead. So, it'll be interesting. Let's just do a quick little recap around the league. Week 18 news and highlights as of, today. Tyreek Hill in post-game interview, reporters, more or less just straight out came out and said, look, I've been to the playoffs many, many times. This is me going to summarize his words. I don't understand how to apparently not be in the playoffs. So when that is, I'm going to act like a big crybaby, take my ball and go home, and I'll demand a trade basically come season's end. That's more or less what he told fucking reporters. Dude, you face a little adversity and you have an 8-9 season. Your quarterback got knocked out for half the season with concussion. Waddle couldn't get shit going because the offense wasn't clicking in the way it needed to because Tua wasn't at quarterback. That team is built for Tua. That's why when he went down and Mike McDaniels went over to him and said, look, just get better. When you get back, you know your job's here. That team, the way it's built, is based on Tua. And if Tua Tagovailoa is not available, it's going to be tough. And you're going to struggle. And you need to learn to get past that. And whatever, it is what it is. I don't know whether I like that saying or hate that saying, but either way, really, it is what it is. So you got to make best with what you got. So go into it. Deal with it. I don't think the Dolphins are going to trade Tyreek Hill. I think they're going to probably just meet him in a one-on-one meeting, right? And unless he basically says, well, I'm just going to fucking retire then. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, retire, bitch. I don't care what. I'll get a 5th round draft pick, a 7th round draft pick, because they know that you're unhappy here. Fuck you. Go retire. Get off and let someone else start playing. Because you ain't getting out of this goddamn contract. You have a tough season and you're going to sit there and moan and grind about it. Get out of here, Tua. That's all I can say with him. Jamar Chase, another wide receiver this week. Week 18, locked up the Triple Crown. First time that's been won since Cooper Kupp did it during the year when LA Rams won their Super Bowl. Which, if my memory serves me correct, 2021? Yeah, he won Super Bowl MVP that year. And Jamar Chase did it on a 9-8 Cincinnati Bengals team that just missed the playoffs too. Tyreek Hill. But future's bright in Cincy. They got to lock up T. Higgins, though. You got to lock up T. Higgins. Burrow's already advocated for him, so go get your man his second weapon. Let's see what they can do. Moving along, a little bit of news. The current head coaches, we're gonna split it up in little parts. Current head coaches who are safe as of today, from when I last had done all my stuff. We had Mike McDaniels being told by whatever owner, right? Him and the GM, they're coming back for 2025. All right, so Miami fans, your head coach is back next year. Woo. New York Giants fans, oh, Brian DeBull's future is safe. The John Maher came out today talking about, now, don't get me wrong, he could be saying this now, and all of a sudden, maybe Ben Johnson is magically available, and he's like, fuck it, peace out, and goes and gets him. Because the NFL did implement a new rule where teams are not allowed to start that whole process until after the divisional round. Okay? I personally think it should be not until after the Super Bowl, but hey, teams want a head start, right? They want to get a jump on the gun. But now teams don't have to necessarily, hurry up the firing process just to hire their next guy. So that's good. But as of today, Brian DeBull is safe according to John Maher. Now, another guy who's safe, who I feel does deserve it, because you are trying to develop a quarterback who can't stay healthy, but hopefully year 3 will be the year. That is the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Mr. Steichen, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Yeah. Steichen is being retained by the Colts. So there's 3 head coaches safe. Now, that's not so much the good news for the rest of them. Which we're going to get into with a nice little thing I prepared in my little almanac over there. So, Aaron Rodgers, though, here's some more news. Aaron Rodgers throws his 500th touchdown and a couple more, I think, in the game, but he becomes one of 5 quarterbacks to throw for 500 touchdowns in the NFL. Now, you got to think about that. That's like 25 touchdowns a year for 20 years, right? Like, the man has had some really good seasons, is a cocky son bitch, and I don't know. I'm not really a Rodgers fan. I can respect him for what he used to do. I don't respect him for his personality to a certain extent, because I see certain differences now that he's played in New York compared to when he played on another team in Green Bay. So, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, I feel at this point in his life, and for sure, he plays better football than I ever could, and I'll hands down. He's played better football than probably 98% of us. But here's the deal. He's let it got to his head a little bit, I think. I don't know. He needs to come in with a new mindset. That's all I'll say. Congratulations, Aaron Rodgers, on your 500th plus touchdown passes over week 18. Huge milestone for you. You joined the likes of Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Brett Favre as the only other 4 quarterbacks, plus yourself, to throw for 500. Congratulations. Mike Evans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like this story. And it's really interesting because he now ties, Jerry Rice for all-time 1,000-yard seasons to start a career. Now, that sounds weird because it's like, well, it's year 11 now, right? You got to think about it, though. From rookie year number 1, minimum 1,000 yards every year for 11 straight years. Talk about a man of consistency. When you watch the part For like, go check it out on YouTube, wherever, somewhere to go watch the highlight of him catching the down. They were in the fourth quarter on the final drive, gonna win, could have kneeled for the win. No, you know what? They passed the goddamn ball because they wanted to get him that accomplishment and milestone. And when they did, you should have seen how erupt the team got because they knew what it meant. They knew what that is putting a man in the same category with the chance to beat it next year for year number 12. 12 consecutive seasons of 1,000 on the line to beat Jerry Rice, to be number one in that category. How many receivers can go out and say, I own a record that Jerry Rice doesn't? But it's not like just the more random happen in the blue moon kind of things. No, like a record like this, that's saying something, I think. And Mike Evans has a Super Bowl ring. So, like, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver. What kind of legacy is he going to finish off with, though, right? I think they win another Super Bowl with Baker and him, honestly. I could see it. Godwin, when he's healthy. This year, I don't think. I could be wrong. We'll see. Either way, congratulations, Mike Evans. Really happy for you. You got that milestone. Great accomplishment. And in a weird little report, I like these ones, I came across Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota 14-3 Vikings, who just lost and are now the number 5 seed. I think he's signed for the 2025 season, but doesn't have any contract negotiations that have happened. So right now, he's only under contract till next year. And for some reason, his name has been coming up in reports of possibly teams trading for him as a head coach to bring him to one of their organizations. Now, interesting part about this is most recently that was done with Sean Payton of when he was with New Orleans and the Denver Broncos. So Denver got Sean Payton and a 3rd round pick, and New Orleans got a 1st and a 2nd, right? So, all right, you trade draft picks for your head coach. Makes sense, right? He is being linked to some of these teams. I think some, who were some? What do we got here? I think Jets were one of them. We had New Orleans being on the docket. You know, basically most of your, hungry, riddled teams that kind of have a quarterback but just need that solid dude to guide them all on the ship. That's what Kevin O'Connell's a great coach. I like Kevin O'Connell. I think he's done wonders with what he's had in Minnesota. I don't feel the Minnesota Vikings should let him go. If I'm them, I'm signing his ass to a goddamn extension. And then I'm going over and I'm signing fucking Sam Darnold to a 1 to 2 year extension. Because I feel that man has done more than enough to earn a contract extension to continue to be the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. No, they didn't win number 1 seed and division this year. But Jesus, Murphy, you were in the last game of the year with it on the line as a 14-2 team going into Detroit, where they were loud last night. Ooh, they were loud. So, I don't know. I don't think they should let him go. But that's up to the Viking brass. So we'll see. That's a weird little report I came across. Thought I'd share it with you. Other news. We had Brock Bowers completing the rookie catch all-time record for a rookie. Not just a tight end, but a rookie. So good work to you. Beat out Malik Neighbors in New York because they were both kind of, I think it was 110 to 108 was the final or something like that, the final count. But crazy stuff. Your top 10 draft pick order selection has been locked in. I got the whole 18, but you don't need to know all of them. We'll just go over the first few, just so that way, you got a bit of a draft heads up, right? The Titans took first overall, okay? The Browns are second overall, and the Giants are third overall. Now, this is where it comes back to that New England Patriots earlier win, okay? By the Patriots winning on Sunday, they move from number 1 all the way down to number 4. Now, I'm not saying that by any means do I ever want to say to an NFL team or my team, hey, go out there and lose so we can get a better draft pick. No, I would never say that. We're going out there to fuck up the other team and to try and come away with the win. Because if you aren't going out there to play as the team, to have each other's backs, and to go out there and give it your all on a Sunday, then what the heck? Get the backup in there then. Get someone who wants to be in there then. That is no different than you going out there as a player, betting against yourself, and then underperforming on purpose. It makes no sense. It's stupid when people think like that. Don't get me wrong, I get it. You want the number 1 overall pick. I would too, but at the cost of that winning feeling, that team coming together, screw it. Go out and do it. But it did cost them the number 1 pick, and I don't know if it was necessarily something that cost him his job, but in the first reveal of the day, Gerard Mayo, which we could all pretty much predict, was the first casualty. And it didn't even happen on what is usually known as Black Monday for most head coaches. No, it happened yesterday, 1 hour after the game. What the hell are you doing over there, Kraft? I get that, Brady, went off into his sunset. Belichick and you parted ways into his sunset. Belichick's now the head coach of the North Carolina University Football Club. You got yourself selecting Gerard Mayo, which you said he was the next successor and all that. You cut him after 1 year? What's even crazier he came out. I didn't even get a chance to read it all, but from what I caught, he came out and just basically straight out said, and he took the blame for it too, so I'll give him that much credit. Robert Kraft, I'll give you credit on that. You came out and just straight up said, we didn't give him anything to basically work with. He was doomed from the beginning. So when you go to pick your successor, you hire him, you do the whole process, you go through the season, you go through the pains and struggles of him not being, there were internal reports of him not being allowed to start Drake May week 1 rather than, no, let him sit, let him cook. And that's fine. I get it. But when the team started off as quick as they did in that general direction, you usually ignite something, right? Jacoby Brissett wasn't getting it done. Drake May, you know what? The kid showed flashes of being a franchise quarterback this year. He did. I like him. I don't mind him. Is he going to be Tom Brady? Time only tells. Who knows with any of these guys? You got Brock Purdy coming in as the last quarterback selected. Don't give me that whole, he was a game manager and had all these guys. And all. Guess what? You still got to get the ball out of your goddamn hand while getting pressured and try to hand it off at the right time and do the whole thing. He's playing National League level starting quarterback, and he is everything as he is presumed to be. So don't give me that crap that, number 1 pick, he's going to be off the charts. You could have a 7th round last pick of the draft, or even a Tom Brady who is number, 211, I think, in the 6th round? Last in the 6th round? Like, you never know where it's going to come from. It's just going to come and show you what they can do. So, yeah, Patriots are number 4. Gerard Mayo is fired and out of Indy. In that regard, there has already been connecting reports of Mike Vrabel possibly becoming the next head coach of the New England Patriots just because of his ties and connection to the craft and his time playing in New England and all of that. He's viewed as probably the front runner, but we'll see how that all plays out. To wrap it up, we have the Jaguars in at 5th. You got the Raiders at 6, Jets at 7, Panthers at 8, Saints at 9, and my Bears at 10. That is your top 10 picks leading into the NFL draft. that be it for that little guy. Now we grab this. A collection of wonderful information. Story time with the cornhole, better known as Let's Talk 2025 Coaches Search. So, we already talked about New England, so that one's done and dealt with. New York Jets fire Robert Saleh mid-season. His interim did shit. I think they ended up gaining like the same amount of wins with him under head coach than Robert Saleh. Either way, I won't spend too much time with New York because I've done a lot of talking on New York over the months, but in short, I think they just need to hit the damn restart button. Need to go get yourself a quarterback, obviously. Now, who's available, though, right? You're selecting 8th. You're not going to be probably signing a fucking Drew Brees off the free agency. Like, first off, if anyone is going to be a Drew Brees in free agency, it's probably going to be between Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold. And you and I both know already, Sam Darnold, it sure as hell ain't going back to New York after the horse shit he dealt with to begin his career. Now, money might persuade him. I don't know. I hope he stays in Mini, but time will tell. And to go along with that, like, I don't know. You have a crew of teammates that right now, some are in their prime of their careers. How many are willing to restart for a new quarterback, right? Do you get rid of a Garrett Wilson? Do you get rid of a Breece Hall? Like, who are you restarting with? So there's a lot of questions in New York. And I feel bad for the Yorks because their sons are a couple of idiots. When reports earlier in the season where they didn't want to sign Jerry Jeudy because his Madden rating wasn't high enough. Are you fucking kidding me? You're running a multi-million, billion to some extent, dollar fucking football organization, and you're not going to sign a guy because you think his Madden rating wasn't high enough? The dude went over 1,000+ yards, and he did that as most of the season as number 2. For the first half of the season, he did it as number 2. Amari Cooper was number 1 in goddamn Cleveland. These guys make no sense. Anyway, New York, good luck with your shitstorm barn fire you got going on over there. Chicago, well, let's just talk Chicago and get it out of the way. We already know Matt Eberflus, done, sucked ass, should have been gone last year. So, I want Ben Johnson. Straight up, unless there's some miraculous change in the way of the world of football head coaches available, I want Ben Johnson. Because we need to develop goddamn Caleb Williams. You didn't spend the first overall pick on him. Went and got DJ Moore. You got Roma Dunze. Everything's in place. Just go get Ben Johnson, man. Don't do this stupid shit like you guys did when you hired fucking Eberflus when we already had a shit offense to go with that too. Eberflus, okay, here's our problem, all right? The quarterbacks in year 1, him and the head coach play together, then the head coach gets fired, the next coach comes in. He plays a few years under him, and then he gets shit canned. In our coach's final year, he gets a new quarterback. And then they lose, and then he gets shit canned. And get a goddamn quarterback, head coach combo. Or in this case, just go get Ben Johnson. All right? Jared Goff went into Detroit. You have fucking Dan Campbell coming in doing his thing. He set a culture. Okay? He set the culture I want. That no bullshit crap. Next guy up, let's fucking go. All right? I don't care if we go for it on fourth down either. Ben Johnson wants to be aggressive, do it. Because at this point, be a hell of a lot better fun watching that football than the crap that I watched at times this year. It was exciting, but the last while, dude, come on, man. But you know what? Whatever. Season's over. It is what it is. Just go get Ben Johnson and make everything right. All right? Give us a little bit of a Christmas gift that we're not expecting or that we are expecting. Moving along. Because I'm not going to sit and talk one team all day long because that's not what we do. What we do is we talk all teams because we are about the entire NFL here at the Beardown Corner. So, Jacksonville Jaguars, as of today, breaking news, right? Doug Peterson has been let go as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, a lot of people seen that one coming. I think Cons just wanted to let him play out the rest of his season. And then the axe came down. He's out. Search is on. I don't really have much more other than that for you right now. Different stuff. Saints. My boys down in New Orleans. You guys need coach ready to take on Derek Carr. Because honestly, he is your quarterback. Derek Carr's a good quarterback. I like him. If I didn't have Caleb Williams, I'd take him in Chicago. He's a solid dude. Just like anyone, though, he needs a little bit of protection and some dudes to come up with some fucking catches. But, not going to go too deep. Quick little shout out to my New Orleans guys. Holla holla at you, my friends. Lando, Mr. Jeremy, Mr. Jacob, Mr. Dip Down himself. So, yeah, New Orleans fired Dennis Allen. Spencer Rattler played some games. They just, whatever, played the rest of the year. New Orleans has a team. They do. They have some good receivers. They had a lot of injuries this year. And like a lot of teams, they faltered down the shit show, but some teams whittled through, and that's what it's all about, right? Who's going to weather the storm? Who's going to make a go at it, right? So they fell victim to it. So I think with the right head coaching scheme, you got some coordinators that are going to do some things. Like, I'm talking an actual head coach. Like, let the offensive guy do his thing. Let the defensive guy do his thing. Let the special teams, and you fucking manage everyone. We don't need a fucking Mike McCarthy, who has been possibly linked. One of my few different sources, he has been possibly linked to going to New Orleans. Now, if he goes, I think you should probably not be calling your goddamn plays like you did in the beginning when you were in Dallas or when you were in Green Bay, where eventually it was you were relieved of the play calling duties because you just lost sight, and then the defense got out of hand, and then it was gone. It was done, right? So, I don't know. I don't know who really is that piece for them. Maybe they go a whole different way. You know, Detroit's defensive coordinator's looking pretty good too. He's made a lot out of nothing this year. Give that man his credit. Yeah, he played a man-to-man coverage against two top receivers last night, and they came out and won. So, good work. Head coaching carousel of the 2025 season. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Keep an eye on things. Keep tuned into here. We'll give you updates as we learn more each and every week here at the Beardown Corner. We got playoff football to talk. Let's break right into it. We got the Chiefs with the number 1 bye in the AFC, and you got the Detroit Lions with the number 1 seed in the NFC. So both are off for Wildcard Weekend in their respective conferences. Buffalo holds the number 2 seed, where they host the Denver Broncos in Buffalo this weekend in Orchard Park. Oh, it's gonna be a tough game. Denver's defense for most of the year has done really good in most all categories, really. held close games when needed to, came up with big plays when had to. They still lost 7 games. Almost eliminated themselves out of playoffs. But they got her done on Sunday, and now get to travel to cold-ass Buffalo, where, weather isn't really too much different to them. But what is going to be different is you got Josh Allen coming at you on offense, who more or less rested this week and is ready to come and lay the hammer down. He can be stopped. Yes, he can be. You're going to have to take advantage, but I think Josh Allen was here and is already playing upper echelon stuff, so I don't see the Bills losing this week. They still could. I just don't see it happening. It's going to take a hell of a performance, because not only is the offense playing good, the Bills' defense has got some guys back, and they're playing rough football now. All right? They rested some guys on Sunday against New England, and they're ready to go. They're ready to make this rush, ready to make the push. So, Bills fans, lock in, because I think you're ready for a fun off season. In the number 3 slot, you have the wonderful Baltimore Ravens hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's why I messed up earlier in the cast where we were talking and I said the wrong team as to the Week 18 result. Well, that's because of that, because I was already thinking 3 steps ahead. So the Pittsburgh Steelers going to Baltimore. Here's the thing, though. Lamar Jackson has to play Lamar Jackson football. And what I mean by that is he not just has to be his pocket passer as he does, but run the ball. Just run it all over him. Give it to him. Show them who the original fucking Justin Fields wannabe is, right? Like, you are Lamar fucking Jackson, 2-time MVP, in the running for possibly 3rd. I hope Josh Allen gets his due this year. But dude, you can play this football. So go out and do you. Defense is getting better. Might be a little Achilles heel, but I think in a divisional playoff, 3rd meeting of the season between these 2 clubs, it's going to be a shit show, but I think Baltimore will take it. Even though they're the number 3 in home team, that don't mean anything. Steelers are a tough team. They are. They've dropped some tough games, but it ain't for naught. They need to be taken seriously. We have some great matchups of football for playoffs. All of these teams, yeah, they obviously had to battle to get here, but in the fact of who you are as you come into the playoffs, I'll straight up say, I think Houston is the weakest team out of the 7 heading into the playoffs. What I mean by that, you got your man Nico Collins back. You gave him a touchdown yesterday. You're excited. You won your game. You won your division. Your division contained the Indianapolis Colts, who finished 7-9. Was it 7? Yeah. 7-9. 7-9. You had the fucking Tennessee Titans, who now hold the 1st overall pick. And the other club didn't do shit either. Jacksonville. No one gave you competition. You had the division locked up 4 weeks prior, man. So, I don't know. I think what the Chargers did on Sunday to lock themselves in at the 5 seed to take on the 4 seed Houston Texans was brilliant. You get to go into I'm not going to say not hostile environment, because the fans are going to be loud. You picked a mildly struggling, very injury-riddled division winner who by default outlasted the rest of the minions. So, yes, it could be like last year. They come out and beat them on a fucking 44-10 win or whatever the hell it was that they did to Cleveland. But I think the Chargers are a hell of a lot better than Cleveland were, especially on offense. Justin Herbert is not Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco did amazing things last year, but he is not Justin Herbert, and I think Justin Herbert's ready to go out and make a playoff game and make a stamp on his career. So that's going to be interesting. So we'll see how it all plays out. That's the AFC side of things. It all kicks down Saturday morning. Moving into the NFC. Shit, what do I even need that for? You got Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles hosting, you know what? Screw it. The Packers. Because I wrote this out for a reason so I could reference it, right? I have a whole little bracket, right? That'll turn into this bracket, right? And then I'll fold it over and that'll be the winners of heading to the Super Bowl. I did all this late last night. It was great. But you have Saquon Barkley, the Philadelphia Eagles, hosting the Green Bay Packers. Rematch, week 1, Brazil game. This is going to be a tight one. The Packers do have enough of an offense to shove it down Philly's defense, okay, to make it a high-scoring game. They also have defenses on both sides too, though. Okay, Philly also, they're not bad on defense, so they could give some trouble. And even as great on offense as the Eagles have been, Packers' defense isn't all that bad either. They are a young team. So in that being said, I feel that it could be a coin flip of a matchup. Me personally, as a Bears fan, I don't want to see the Packers win. But hey, I'm a Bears fan. When it comes to the development of a young team, though, it's going to be an interesting one. For a number 7 seed, it's going to be interesting to see what they can bring into Philly. Because I know Philly's hungry to get back on that we're the team of the NFC wagon. So that's going to be a tight matchup. Have fun watching that one. It'll be a good. Number 3 seed, Tampa Bay Buccaneers locked it in with their win and the Los Angeles Rams loss. So every team takes a different approach heading to week 18 going into the playoffs. Los Angeles decided to rest their starters. They didn't give a crap who they faced. Although now they're going to be facing Minnesota and Tampa Bay is going to be taking on Washington. Either way, dude, seeds 5 through 7 are all 11 wins or better. You have Minnesota, who's now 14-3 as the number 5 seed. Tampa Bay won 10 and fucking LA Rams won 10, man. They locked up their divisions, but you got teams with arguably not just the better record, but like that could have been division winners too. They just literally played within that tough of a division, though, which it's not their fault. They did what they had to. NFC North produced 3 goddamn participants this year, and the NFC East did too with their division and their wild card. So, like, you had 2 divisions that sent us just their leaders so they host a home game. I don't know about the whole division leaders should get the home game, but you know what? I guess it does give the incentive and importance of winning your division. But that can create a whole nother debate, and that's something we'll discuss on the next episode of the Beardown Corner. But for now, let's talk the Buccaneers. They got a 2-headed monster at running back. Wide receivers are stepping up. McMillan is stepping up for him. Do they have enough to take out Washington? I think they do, but Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders might tell you otherwise, because he's coming off of performances that would make you think otherwise for him being a rookie quarterback. God, it's just going to be so much good football, right? Even Los Angeles Rams hosting the Minnesota Vikings on the Monday nighter of the Wildcard Weekend, like everything. There's so much on the line. I know it's playoffs, and I know that sounds cliche, but really there is. And you got what I feel, at least in more recent years, the most tightly stacked playoff matchups. And what I mean by that is you could, and I know it's always a possibility, but let's be realistic, okay? Some teams are just going to move on. But you literally could have all road teams this week win and not surprise anyone. I know I say that about the number 2 Eagles and the number 2 Bills, but really, Denver does not have a bad defense. In fact, they're a reason why they won 10 games and got into the playoffs. The Los Angeles Chargers are not your, old school daddy shitty football team. No, they're here to play. They're being coached up by none other than Jim Harbaugh, who in recent memory, turned around the Michigan Football Club, right? Turned around the San Francisco 49ers at a point when they probably should not have, right? Like, he came in and gave Alex fucking Smith the rejuvenated shot in his arm he needed to. He led them to the playoffs that year as a 49er quarterback. The next year, he got hurt mid-season. Colin Kaepernick came in. They went to the Super Bowl. They went to the NFC Championship, then to the Super Bowl the next season. Jim Harbaugh knows how to coach. The man, tune in and find out. Let's just put it that way. I think that all those clubs, all the teams, Pittsburgh can walk away with a win in Baltimore. You got Packers, I don't want, but they could walk away with the win in friggin' Philly, right? Like, they played on a shitty field in Brazil in the loss that they had, all right? But now you got a full another season under your belt. You have last year's experience. You're still younger as shit. Time to grow, Packers. It's going to be interesting. Going to bring some good fight this weekend. I like what the defense can do when it comes to turnovers, but I also like what Saquon can do in how he runs. So get ready. He might just jump over a few of your heads. The Commanders, oh boy, what has Dan Quinn done with that team other than give them complete new life in what, honestly, I think a lot of people thought they weren't going to be that good. But they showed you. Terry McLaurin got his quarterback. He showed you that defense. They came alive under the defensive regime of Dan Quinn. They showed you. Look what he did in Dallas when he had all the pieces he had there. Micah Parsons, fucking Lawrence. You had, Bland and fucking Diggs at corner. Like, they had pieces on that defense where Dallas was really dominant for a while there on defense. But then just shit went as it did, and Dan Quinn left town, right? And now he comes in as the number 6 seed against the number 3 seed in Tampa Bay, where they play in, it's Tampa, right? You got a nice weather game, outside arena. Here we go. It's going to be fun games, man. Fun game lineup. Sort of recap, to follow up, to finish up with this playoff little chat we're having. Number 2 Bills take on the number 7 Broncos. The number 3 Ravens take on the number 6 Pittsburgh Steelers. The number 4 Houston Texans take on the number 5 Los Angeles Chargers. Your AFC matchups for the Wildcard Weekend. NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Green Bay Packers. Number 2 versus number 7. Number 3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers host the Washington Commanders at number 6. And you move into the final matchup of the weekend, where it will be the number 4 Los Angeles Rams hosting the 14-3 5 seed Minnesota Vikings. Like, if Minnesota doesn't win, I'm going to be shocked. Not going to lie. That is one road team I would take this weekend. Sorry, Los Angeles fans. I hope for good things for you. I do. But I don't know. Minnesota's sneakily good this year. They weren't 14-2 leading into last night for no reason. So get your popcorn ready, folks. Playoff football is upon us. That is it for our episode 11 of the Beardown Corner. This has been fun. I am Sergeant Cornholio. Catch the podcast anywhere it's available on your Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, or iHeartRadio. And don't forget to catch in the stream of the Dick Hank stream which is usually weekly or various times throughout the day, usually afternoon and evenings though. Not going to be too crazy here, right? And you can catch that at YouTube, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok live as we work towards making this wonderful empire. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Sergeant Cornholio. It's been my pleasure to be here with you guys again. I hope you've had fun just as I have. We will catch you the next time. Until then, be safe.